In the small town of Ravenwood, nestled deep within the forested hills of New England, there stood an old, decrepit mansion. This mansion, known as the Hawthorne House, held a dark and sinister reputation among the locals. Many whispered tales of hauntings, curses, and unspeakable horrors that lurked within its shadowed halls. Among the numerous legends surrounding the mansion, one story stood out above the rest: the tale of the Whispering Board. According to local lore, the Hawthorne House was once the residence of the enigmatic Hawthorne family, who were said to have dabbled in the occult and practiced forbidden rituals within the mansion's walls. It was rumored that they had possessed a peculiar artifact, a Ouija board imbued with dark energies, known as the Whispering Board. The Whispering Board was said to hold the power to communicate with the dead, but at a terrible cost. Those who dared to invoke its powers risked inviting malevolent spirits into their lives, unleashing horrors beyond comprehension. Despite the warnings, curiosity often got the better of the brave and the foolish alike, leading them to seek out the Whispering Board and test its supposed powers. Our story begins with a group of college students from the nearby town of Millfield. Drawn by the allure of the supernatural and fueled by youthful bravado, they embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind the legends of the Hawthorne House. Among them were Sarah, a skeptical psychology major; David, a thrill-seeking daredevil; Emily, a cautious believer in the paranormal; and Mark, the group's self-proclaimed skeptic. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest, the group made their way through the overgrown path that led to the Hawthorne House. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Arriving at the mansion, they were greeted by its imposing facade, its windows boarded up, and its once grand architecture now crumbling into decay. Undeterred, they made their way inside, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls like whispers of the past. In the heart of the mansion, they found what they were seeking: the Whispering Board. It lay upon a dusty table, its surface adorned with cryptic symbols and eerie markings. With trembling hands, they gathered around the board and prepared to summon whatever entities lurked beyond the veil of the living. Sarah, the skeptic, scoffed at the notion of communicating with the dead. "This is ridiculous," she declared. "There's no such thing as ghosts or spirits. It's all just superstition and nonsense." David, the daredevil, grinned eagerly. "Come on, Sarah. Where's your sense of adventure? We're about to uncover the truth behind these legends. Who knows what we might discover?" Emily, a believer, clasped her hands together nervously. "I'm not so sure about this, guys. What if we unleash something we can't control? What if we end up regretting it?" Mark, the skeptic, rolled his eyes. "Oh, please. This is just a silly game. Nothing more, nothing less. But if it'll make you all feel better, I'll go first." With that, Mark placed his fingers lightly upon the planchette and began to ask questions in a mocking tone. "Is there anyone there? Can you hear us, oh mighty spirits of the beyond?" At first, there was nothing but silence. Then, slowly but surely, the planchette began to move, gliding across the surface of the board as if guided by an unseen hand. The group watched in astonishment as it spelled out a message, letter by letter. "Hello, Mark." The air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled over the room like a heavy shroud. Sarah's skepticism wavered, replaced by a growing sense of dread. "This isn't funny anymore," she whispered. "We need to stop." But before they could react, the planchette continued to move, spelling out another message. "WEHADBENWATNGFRO." Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. Panic-stricken, the group scrambled to find their way in the blackness, their voices echoing off the walls in a chorus of fear. Just as suddenly as it had begun, the darkness lifted and the lights flickered back to life. But something had changed. Something was different. Standing before them, illuminated by the dim glow of the moonlight streaming through the windows, was a figure cloaked in shadow, a figure that seemed to defy all reason and logic. It spoke with a voice that seemed to come from everywhere, and nowhere at once, its words echoing in the depths of their souls. Y-U-U-A-A-V-E-A-W-A-K-E-E-U-S-F-O-U-R, S-O-U-B-E-R. It intoned. A-B-U-U-U-S-T-P-T-H-E-P-R-I-C. With a deafening roar, the walls of the mansion began to shake, and the very ground beneath their feet trembled as if in the throes of an earthquake. Terrified, the group huddled together, their minds reeling with terror and disbelief. In that moment of desperation, Sarah's skepticism melted away, replaced by a newfound resolve. "We have to get out of here," she cried. "We have to find a way to stop this before it's too late." With adrenaline coursing through their veins, the group made a desperate dash for the exit, their footsteps echoing through the halls like the pounding of their own hearts. But no matter how fast they ran, the mansion seemed to stretch on endlessly, its corridors twisting and turning like a labyrinth designed to ensnare them. Just when it seemed as though all hope was lost, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed behind a secret passage. Inside, they found a circle of ancient symbols etched into the floor, a summoning circle, imbued with dark energies beyond comprehension. Realization dawned upon them like a bolt of lightning. The Hawthorne family had not merely dabbled in the occult, they had delved into its darkest depths, seeking power beyond mortal comprehension. But before they could contemplate the implications of their discovery, they were confronted by a ghastly apparition, a spectral figure clad in tattered robes, its eyes burning with an otherworldly light. "You dare to trespass upon sacred ground," it hissed, its voice a chilling whisper that sent shivers down their spines. "You dare to interfere with forces beyond your understanding. You will pay dearly for your transgressions." With a wave of its hand, the apparition summoned forth a horde of malevolent spirits, their twisted forms writhing and contorting in the flickering light of the torches that lined the chamber walls. In a desperate bid for survival, the group fought back with all their strength, wielding makeshift weapons fashioned from whatever they could find lying around the chamber. But the spirits were relentless, their insubstantial forms all but immune to the physical blows of their attackers. Just when it seemed as though they were doomed to be overwhelmed, Emily remembered the ancient incantation she had stumbled upon in her research, a powerful spell capable of banishing even the most malevolent of spirits back to the realm from whence they came. With trembling hands, she recited the words of the incantation, her voice barely audible above the cacophony of screams and wails that filled the chamber. Slowly but surely, the spirits began to falter, their forms growing fainter and fainter until they vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. Exhausted but victorious, the group collapsed to the floor, their bodies bruised and battered, but their spirits unbroken. As the first light of dawn began to filter through the windows, they made their way out of the chamber and back into the daylight, leaving behind the darkness and horrors of the Hawthorne house forever. But as they emerged from the depths of the forest, they knew that their ordeal was far from over. For though they had escaped the clutches of the whispering board and the malevolent spirits it had summoned, they would carry the scars of their encounter with the supernatural for the rest of their lives. And as they looked back at the crumbling facade of the Hawthorne house, they couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lay hidden within its shadowed halls, waiting to be unleashed upon the unsuspecting world.